Hi everyone, Sid here in the car driving to work again. Today I want to share a story with you that happened to me the other day, and then I'll share the point of this story. I'm not sure yet if this video is going to go into conversation hacks or not, but I think it's interesting. So to set it up, I'm an extra in film and TV every now and then, to make some extra cash on the side, and I was an extra in a TV show you've never heard of, and in the morning I was waiting in the waiting area near the set with a bunch of other extras, and I didn't have my reading material with me, so I started chatting it up with a couple other extras, and in this small talk rant stuff, I kind of went into Quebec healthcare, and I mentioned how the healthcare system today isn't really that hot. And the chick I was talking to, she said, "What do you mean?" And basically I kind of nuanced it by saying that it's not that hot by first world standards, because we're not dying in the streets because we're walking in our own piss and shit. But it's less than ideal, let's put it that way. And someone else came in and we started talking about other things. And then later on I came back to that, and when she started challenging me on that position, and I shared an anecdote which I think supports the position. But anyway, I'll tell the anecdote real quick. This summer, I slipped on some ice and fell, and I landed entirely on all the weight of my body came on the tip of my thumb, and it really hurt, as you can imagine. And I was like, holy shit. When I noticed it started swelling and shit, I was like, damn, I should get this checked out. But I immediately had the other thought, like, if I go to the emergency room with a sore thumb, I'm going to be there for 3 weeks or whatever. So I opted to sleep on it that night. And the next day I started doing some internet research. And the conclusion that I came to based on that research was that if my thumb really was broken, there would be no doubt. So that's when I said to myself, oh, it's a bad sprain, and I walked it off. And she was, when I was telling this story, she was all like, what time was it? And, oh, so you did internet research? And, oh, so basically you didn't even really try. And this is what your position is? And another thing I had noticed, she was really invested into challenging me, to the point where I was convinced that she knows someone who works in healthcare, someone close to her heart, and that I was somehow criticizing this person. And not only that, well, basically what gave me the impression that she was invested is that she was kind of stepping on my sentences a bit, not so much cutting me off, but just starting her sentence as I was finishing mine. And she also slightly strawmanned me to the other person who jumped in when she said that I said that Quebec healthcare is shit. And she did so twice. And I let it slide because, first of all, in my mind, we were just shooting the shit. Second of all, I've never been in a debate club, but I have done formal debates. And I am quite familiar with defending a position that isn't mine. And the Quebec healthcare system is shit is close enough to what I actually think that I kind of let it slide. And when the conversation kind of hit a lull, I casually asked her, so do you know someone who works in healthcare? And that was actually a nerfed version of the question that was in my mind, which was, who do you know that works in healthcare? Because to me, it was a certainty. So I asked her, do you know someone who works in healthcare? And she says no. And then the first thought that came to my mind was, oh, so you're just a bitch. And if she was a man, I would have said dick, by the way, for the SJWs in there. So basically, I thought, oh, so you're just a bitch. And then I mulled it over a bit. This thought process took less than a minute. And I realized that, no, she wasn't being a bitch. She was just, basically, I put it out there. I took a position, and I supported that position with an anecdote, which is kind of weak support, but it's still support. So in casual conversation, that's about as close as you get to a philosophical argument. And by advancing that argument, I am totally on the table to having that argument challenged and picked apart. Again, I don't think that she was, like, if she was cutting me off to the point where I didn't think I would be able to finish a sentence, I would have called her on it right then and there. But she didn't. So I kind of let it slide, and I shot a video on this as to when to and not to let it slide. And as I said, my goal in that moment was just shooting the shit. So basically, the point behind that story was, in the day-to-day, everyday world, philosophical conversations can sound a lot like trolling. And it threw me back to an old job that I had where me and two other coworkers, sadly I lost touch with one of them, and the other one moved away. He's actually been the inspiration to a couple of videos on this channel. But something we would do is we would meet up, I think it was every Tuesday, because I remember calling it Philosophy Tuesdays, and we'd have lunch together and just engage in philosophical conversations. And it was really intellectual and abstract, and we would pretty much go at it. When someone took a position that was being challenged, it could get pretty, let's just say that I've thought many times that someone just walking by the room as we were having that conversation would be convinced that we were trolling each other and having arguments. We would frequently ask each other for definitions, and we would frequently go 2 definitions deep. So a guy says a word, you ask for a definition, and then you ask for one of the definitions of one of the words he used in that definition. We would frequently go 2 definitions deep, and sometimes we'd even go 3 definitions deep. So that kind of rigor is kind of annoying to people in the day-to-day world, and it kind of sucks. I remember thinking many times that, like, people don't like being asked to define their terms, and I think it's a shame. I think that the overall lack of philosophical rigor is a condemnation of the Prussian-style schooling system that we have basically everywhere, which I already shot a 2-part series on. And what I found interesting in this is that even I fell prey to this in this situation that I just described that happened to me the other day, where me, having thought these things many times over the last few years, I would inadvertently advance a philosophical argument, have it challenged in a way that's kind of engaged, and my first reflex would be to think, oh, this person is a dick or a bitch, in this case because she's a woman. Yeah, I found it fascinating that even me, I would fall prey to this knee-jerk kind of thinking, and I'm fortunate that I caught myself and corrected myself, because I really did advance philosophy, even though in my mind we were just shooting the shit. And I think that's part of where the irritation comes from in everyday life, where people don't really like to have philosophical conversations, and when they do, they use all these buzzwords that they just assume that people know what they mean when they say stuff like justice. That's a big one that gets fuzzed around, or socialism, or the 1%, or whatever the buzzwords in that conversation are. And so yeah, like the lack of philosophical conversations that happen in day-to-day life, combined with the annoyance that usually comes up when people are asked to define their terms and are really challenged, it's a condemnation of the schooling system, that these annoyances are so frequent in the world. And it can get doubly so when philosophical conversations can get passionate, and I think that's fine. I don't think it's a reasonable standard to expect people to just be emotionless robots when they're discussing abstract ideas or challenging each other's opinions. People get worked up. You can get annoyed with the person that you're debating with, all the while keeping in mind that your annoyance has nothing to do with the validity of their argument. So when you're bringing up valid challenges, it can be brought up in a way that's kind of snarky, and that happens a lot in passionate philosophical conversation. So yeah, I just wanted to share that anecdote. I thought it was interesting, so thank you very much for watching. Please share your thoughts under here, and like and share this. I would really appreciate it. Also, subscribe to me on YouTube, and as always, you will find links to my Twitter and Tumblr under this video. So thank you very much for watching. It was a bit of a short video today, but they will happen more often, so you take care. I'll see you soon.